Hey horror fans, once again it's the Horror Miser Monty G, and today I'm going to start a new film series. I'm going to review all the movies in the Paranormal Activity series. Yes! So, I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all are saying, why are you doing this series, Monty G? Well, it actually started, I think maybe about maybe close to 3 weeks ago. One of my dear good horror ghouls, Vicky, Nightmare Naven, we were talking back and forth, and one of the videos that she did, and she actually made a comment about the Paranormal Activity films. And you want to know if I told her I did not see the first or the second one. So she said, well, why don't you go ahead and watch it and do a review on it? I said, sure, why not? I'll do it. Hey, look, I'm down for anything. But being the thorough person that I am, I said, you know what? I just can't do the two. There's a series on this. So at the time, I did not see 1, 2, and I did not see the Mark ones or the Ghost Dimension. I did see 3 and 4. So I went on ahead, I watched the first two, and then I watched the Mark ones and the Ghost Dimension. So now I've watched the entire film series. So not only will I'm going to review just 1 and 2, I'm going to do the whole set. Yes, that's how I do it, people. So we're going to kick off the series by doing the first one that came out of the batch, Paranormal Activity. Now, this was released in 2007, I think. Yeah, it was released in 2007. It was written, directed, edited, and photographed by Oren Pele. Yes, he wrote the script. He did basically everything. Actually stars Kate Featherstone and Micah Sloth. They are the couple that play. They're the actors that play the couple in the movie. And basically, this is the start of the series. Basically, they play a couple who are trying to fight off real strange occurrences in their house. And like I said, this came out in 2007. Now, like I said, this actually made a whole bunch of money because it's very cheap to film. And as I'll go over the some of the aspects of the film, it made a lot of money. Eventually, I think Owen tried to patch it off, tried to get a distributor. No one was really interested until Paramount came along, and there's the one that released it. I think he sold it for about maybe $350,000. If I'm mistaken, I think it only cost him like maybe $10,000 to make. But we'll go over that later. But now let's get ready, and here's my review of the first Paranormal Activity film. Now, just to give you some background information that I discovered while I was researching this film, the original ending of the film was changed at the suggestion of Steven Spielberg. He actually told Oren, I think he wanted to give his opinion, and who better not to take the opinion of Steven Spielberg. And he told him that you really need to change the ending. So the ending was changed, and we'll go about how there are actually now 3 different endings of this movie. Another fun fact about this film, the actors weren't giving any scripts. They were giving guidelines about how to behave and basically what they need to do as far as what outline they were doing, as far as the scene they were filming. And the actors had to come up, with dialogue, how they're going to interact between each other, which I thought was also fascinating. Another fun fact was that this film was only completed in 10 days. 10 days to film this movie. And actually, Oren filmed this in his own house. Yes, this film was filmed with his own hand camera. He used his own camcorder. It was not giving any typical lightings, not any typical cameras that you normally use in a film production. He used his own home camera, so that saved him a lot of overhead. So that's why the film only cost so much for him to, only cost him $15,000 to make, because he basically used his own house, used his own camcorder, didn't have any other professionals. He did all the filming, or basically the actor Michael Sloth did all the filming because he was holding the camera. And I thought that was fascinating about everything that Oren Pele did in his movie. Other fun fact, as I stated before, DreamWorks wanted to remake everything. They said, hey, look, we like the idea, but we don't think that audiences are going to see it, so we want to remake everything and hire well-known actors. And Oren Pele, you got to give him credit. He stuck by his guns. He refused to bow down to the movie studios. He says, no, I don't want that. Eventually, Paramount came along, and they bought the rights to the film for $350,000. So right there, he already made a huge profit, and based upon how much this movie made after the first weekend, after it did the film festivals, which was kind of funny because during the first film festivals, a lot of the he and a lot of the other people that worked on this film were a little upset because people were walking out of the movie theater because they thought the film sucked. But they found out later on, they was like, no, it's not that. It's just so goddamn frightening. We can't take it. This film is scary as shit. Some other fun facts. Oren Peli said he got the idea for the movie from his own personal experience. He used to have dreams, terrifying nightmares about entities causing a whole lot of racket in his house. That's where he got the idea from. Looks like I said, another fun fact was that he actually decided, I think, if I'm not mistaken, yes, if I'm not mistaken, during casting, Survivor runner-up Katie Gallagher was originally cast to play the role of Katie. But unfortunately, Oren Peli decided she was too well-known, and he wanted unknown actors because he wanted the look and style of the movie to feel real. And he felt as though by having a well-known person who just came off a Survivor even at later time, he says, no, she's too well-known. I need something unknown. So that's another fun fact about this picture. Just to give you a fair warning, there will be spoilers because I'm going on the assumption that most people have seen this movie, or seen mostly the entire series. If you haven't seen it, I'm letting you know right now. I will do some spoilers. I won't reveal the whole basic plot of the movie. I will give some aspects of what happened in the movie and what I thought about it, and my thoughts about it, but there definitely will be spoilers, so you've been warned. So now, as I stated before, we have this, I guess, 30-something, 20-something couple, Kenny and Micah. They've moved into this house in San Diego. The film starts with Micah having his camcorder, and he's filming Katie coming up the driveway, and she's like, what the hell are you doing? And everything seemed to be hunky-dory, and then eventually some weird stuff starts to happen throughout the house. Nothing really major, just some lights going off, there's some noise going around. Eventually, as time goes on, we find out that Katie has been experiencing some strange occurrences or some paranormal activity occurrences throughout her life, especially when her and her younger sister Christy were small. But she did not let Michael know about this. So in order to keep her at ease, he decides to set up cameras throughout the house and film everything around the house. Eventually, the disturbances get more infrequently and they get more intense, and to the point that Katie's really skitzing out. And eventually we get to a crescendo to the end of the movie where some weird shit starts to happening out the house. And that's basically what the premise is. It's basically about these two couples and how they're dealing with this, how they're dealing with the paranormal activity that's happening in their house. Now, when I first heard about this picture and then I finally saw the first one, I thought Oren Peli did a fascinating job to film a horror film with little to no action. And that's very bold to do something like that. Now, most of the time you can see it in a slow burn movie, but you still have some action in it. But this mainly deals with character development, and this mainly has to come from the two actors. Now, normally in a slow burn, you still have character actors. You have more people interacting with each other. But here in this movie, you just have two people, and that's Kenny and Micah. And they really have to do a great job in selling the audience and making sure that we care about them. It's all about how they perform, how well the story is written, and how well both the actors come off against each other. And I thought that Katie Featherstone and Mike Flocka did a pretty good job of being a young couple trying to figure out what the hell is going on and how to resolve the issues that they're going through. Now, as I stated before, like I said, nothing really happens in the beginning of the movie. The lights go off. You hear some disturbances. You get some banging, some chandeliers sinking, and that really takes about almost close to about 2/3 of the movie before anything really major happens. And then, of course, Katie reveals, say about around the second act, that she's been dealing with this type of occurrences since she was little. And this does not help Micah very much. So like I said, he's busy filming all this, trying to help her understand what's happening. And then that's when the images start to get more intense. There was one scene at night because the movie goes throughout night 1, night 3, night 5. There's one time at night where Katie gets out of the bed and just stares at Michael. And it literally, the time jumps. They do a fast frame speed. Stands there and stares at him for close to almost 2 hours, which is really fascinating. It's like, how can a person just stand there for 2 hours just look at him? Eventually, Micah tries to do the best he can to help his girlfriend out, but unfortunately, he comes more off like a douchebag. And I can understand his resentment because she didn't tell him at the time that they decided to move in together, and he tries to do his help, but he comes like I say, he comes off like a douchebag. Like at one point, Katie definitely tells him not to buy a Ouija board, but then he goes and buys the Ouija board anyway, and this gets into a very resentful fight. And she tells him, look, you're going to piss the entity off even more, and eventually he does. Now, as far as what I thought of the film, I actually found the film fascinating. It takes very bold guts, again, as I stated before, to film a horror film like this, where you're relying nothing on the performance of the two actors. There's no real special effects in here. Things get intense by the time it gets to the third act, and then by the time the movie reaches its crescendo at the ending, you're just like left, what the hell? So I can understand why the people who saw this movie the first time really enjoyed it. And I also can understand why some people didn't like it. Because, like I said, you're really putting a lot in your faith in the audience if you're not going to have any type of action in the movie. And so I really got to give Oren Peli a lot of credit. He did a pretty good job. He wrote a really nice script. Like I said, Kate Featherstone did a fantastic job as Katie. Michael Slope did a good job as playing his boyfriend. I thought it was very well paced. He didn't change the pace at all. He kept it nice and even. You know, he slowed it up. You have the slow, gradual effects. You keep the occurrences small and minor, and you start building up. You have the relationship between the two couples. You can see the distraught look on Katie's face when the attacks start to get more frequently and start to get more intense. You can see how distraught and upset she is. She gets pissed off when Michael breaks his trust with her when he buys the Ouija board, when she told him don't do it. You can see her distraught there, and finally the film reaches its max crescendo at the end. So I liked how he did everything pace-wise with the film. So I was very impressed about how he made this film. So, like I said, I really enjoyed this first entry into the series. I thought it was very well paced. Like again, I can understand why some people didn't like it, but hey, look, if you didn't like it, just didn't like it. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a pretty good, nice way to start the franchise. And I can understand why Paramount decided to go with this route. And I'm glad they decided to let the type of work that Oren Peli made keep it. Because the one thing I don't like what movie studios do is that they screw up with an artist's work. That this is something that they worked on. This is what they want to do, and they have a tendency to screw it over. And that's not what the filmmakers wanted. So the Horror Miser is going to open up his vault. And I'm going to give Paramount Activity 3 out of my 5 gold coins. Yes, I'm going to give Paramount Activity 3 out of my 5 gold coins. Nice way to start the series, guys. I truly like this film. So, horror fans, for those who have seen Paramount Activity, the first one, did you like this film? Did you really think it was as scary as some people thought it was? Or did you think it just fell flat on his face and it was just too slow, too boring, and nothing really happened, and you just nodded off? Leave your comments down in the comment section below and tell me what you thought about the first Paranormal Activity. So, horror fan, that's my video for today, and the first one for the Paranormal Activity series. Stay tuned. I will get to 2 hopefully by Friday. And as always, if you did enjoy this video, please give this a thumbs up because it does help the channel. And as always, this is your first time here, please hit that subscribe button. Definitely ring that notification bell. That way you can come and enjoy the horror experience with me, the Horror Miser Monty G. And as always, all my social media links will be down in the description box below as well. Once again, my name is Lamont Smith, better known as the Horror Miser Monty G. And always remember, horror rules. Ha 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 ha.